Hey guys, this is Greg Rowe, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about how to do a cork. I've been asked to make many tutorials, and we're trying to get to them all, but with all the traveling and different stuff that we're doing, it's hard to do everything. But I did want to make sure I got this one because this is a big one. It covers from parkour to tricking to gymnastics. And I know a lot of gymnasts think that, oh, I shouldn't do off-axis sort of training, but I really strongly believe that you should, because the mechanics are the mechanics of acrobatics. It doesn't matter if you don't use the skill, but you should understand how it works, because then you'll better understand the other stuff that you actually do in competition. All you got to do is then say, well, for this moment I'm not going to do the actual off-axis thing, but I understand how that happens, so I now know when I'm doing it wrong what it feels like. Oh, and I can identify now where the issue is. If you just try to stay away from the bad stuff rather than at least experiencing it and knowing the difference, then you're kind of just in the little box. So I really do believe that every gymnast, every athlete, anyone that does any kind of acrobatics should know how to do a cork. It's one of the very basic skills you should understand. So as you can see here, I don't really have to walk you through what I'm doing. It is important to note that you need to be able to get your feet out that way. If you cannot do the quarter turn to stomach drop before you do the twist with the arms, then you're missing the very base of it. The cork is all about getting the feet out to the side, right? And you guys when you're doing a back full or something like this, you're going more over top, but for a cork you're going around the side, so you got to make sure you actually have the difference there. You can go on both sides as I'm doing here, because you can do the same mathematics, same mechanics on no matter which way you're facing. It doesn't matter if I decide to face sideways on a trampoline or to close my eyes, doesn't even matter. Whichever way I go, the mechanics are still the same thing. And it's very important, not just corks, but just any skill, that it can be reversed, it can be manipulated, it can go on different axes, and it doesn't change what the skill is, it just, we label it something different. Alright, so what you're doing is kick the feet out to the side so your body is perpendicular to the face, to the way you started. And if you're not hitting that perpendicular sort of angle where, as I did there, so you can see that my feet didn't get all the way to where the white mark is. I was too linear, I was too up and down. It becomes more of a back full or a backdrop with a full turn. I have to actually try to get my feet out to the side like that more. So make sure you don't forget that step. A lot of people will just do a full turn to backdrop and think that that's okay, and then they'll do like a pullover and think that's the skill. But no, you have to be facing sideways like that, or the cork doesn't work. It's not a cork anymore, then it's an actual back full. Don't bring the arms in too early either, guys, because if you bring in the arms right from the takeoff, then what happens is that you're not actually creating the levers to create the momentum to create the twist. You're just basically going to use a trampoline and kind of push your feet to create the twist, which is going to cause a lot of problems down the road. Most people know that contact twist is bad, so have your arms out just to start, just to remind yourself that, oh yeah, wait, I kick my feet to get the spin on the perpendicular axis, and then the arms are going to cause the twist once I'm halfway done the flip. Right, so you kick, arms out, and then the arms come in just like that. Not any earlier, or you're going to cheat and not actually get perpendicular. You got to make sure you get to that stomach drop first, then you twist. It's always step by step. It's kind of like math. I think I've said this before in other tutorials where it's like bed math, where you have the brackets, exponents, multiplication, blah blah blah, and there's an order of operations. Acrobatics is not any different. Most people don't know the order. They don't think there's an order. They think, well, I just flip and twist, but they have to understand that there's steps by step by step by step, and as soon as you miss one, the whole thing's done. All right, you got to go back. So don't rush this. Do a billion to stomach without the twist. You'll find it really easy to add the twist after. You can play with it just like I did there. I don't know what that was, but you know, you can have fun with it. It shouldn't be boring. But make sure you do not skip the step to stomach. Once you've done that for a bunch of times, and I'm talking about probably at least 100, maybe even a couple hundred, it should be automatic. There should be no thinking. Oh yeah, boom, just roll over to the side, bah, easy peasy. If it's not that simple on both sides, then it probably means you need to just do a few more numbers, right? You don't want to move ahead faster than your brain can write down the information as it's going in, right? Then it's kind of like in class, right? Your teacher's talking too fast and you're trying to scribble down all the dates and you're eventually going to miss something. Well, if you don't do the right repetitions, it's kind of the same kind of process. You're just going too fast, test, you're going to miss something, which in class it just means you lose some marks on a test, but here it means you lose a tendon because it rips off because you've got an injury because you did something you shouldn't have, and instead of going back and thinking step by step by step, you went too quick and all of a sudden an injury happens, right? And that's how the majority of injuries do happen. You skipped a step, right? But as you can see, when you got past the stomach drop and the half turn part, all you gotta do is just stay tucked, just stay small. The feet will naturally come over to the side because you've already kicked them that way anyways, so you don't have to think about anything. If you can get to the stomach, all you gotta do is keep your arms in and then tuck the feet down, and you'll be ready to start thinking about the landing. Right? Don't rush, let it just naturally happen, and you'll find it's really simple. We did this with people at trampoline parks with our certification, and we taught them within literally 5 minutes, and we taught coaches to teach it that have never done anything like this when they learn how to do it within 5 minutes as well. It's very simple if you can break it down into enough steps. People get into trouble when they just skip the steps. I can't say that enough, because that is really the fundamental problem with any acrobat. Anyone who can't learn a skill, it's not because you're dumb, it's not because you don't know what you're doing, it's not because you're necessarily your coaching or your conditioning, which I'm sure conditioning is a big factor, but it's because you haven't broken down to enough steps and you haven't mastered those steps. So make sure you do this a bunch of times. You should be able to go both ways, because again, the math is not any different. So just keep practicing both. You'll have one that you like. Like I will do my regular back full, like a trampoline style back full in competition to the right, but I'll do my corks to the left. This keeps me from getting them mixed up in my head, and a lot of athletes will know what this is like, and you'll learn, say, a fliffus, and then you'll try to do a Rudy out the next week, and maybe you haven't done enough fliffuses, but then all of a sudden now your fliffuses become a Rudy out just because that's just the automatic reaction with what you've taught your brain. So don't skip ahead, your wheels start getting mixed up. Keep them separate for now. I would suggest doing your off axis to a different direction than your on axis, just for that. But once you get really good at it, like I can do a cork on both sides with any angle that I want, and it doesn't matter. But I've also done it for many years. So if you're new, you may want to keep them different. But if you've done it forever, then you should be able to just pick one and just have fun with it, and it won't really matter. But just so you know that that's a potential issue you're going to have. I remember one time when I was going to World Cups and stuff like this a couple years back, and just before one, I had all this twisting issues, and my Triffus pikes would become Rudy out Triff pikes and Randy out Triff pikes even, just because I automatically would just naturally twist, and I didn't know why. I didn't break it down enough, and that was the problem. So once I took time and I broke it right back down to its starting steps, then I was able to, fix my twisting. But that's what will happen. It's a real problem, and a lot of athletes have it. So don't think that you're superior or you're better. Just know that it's a possibility, and just be prepared for it. And once you get better, what you can do is I'm doing here is I'm showing you guys actually that the back full can be taught the other. That's a left twisting back full, and I don't twist to the left, but you can go over top. It's still a cork. See, that's my proper back full. That's the way I normally go to the right. But if I want to relearn, and I just go that way, I don't have the prettiest back full, but it goes over the top. But if I want to learn a back full another way, and I'm having troubles with that, and I have an athlete that just doesn't seem to understand what that is, which most people, when you ask them to explain a back full, they don't really break it down in a way that they really understand. They just memorize it over repetition. So here's another way you can get people to learn a back full, is you start with the cork, and you just work your way up the side. As you can see, I start off by just going literally around the side, but then I lift the hips up a little bit more, but my brain already knows, oh, I just got to twist this way. This is what the twist feels like because I've done the cork. I've done this drill a bunch of times, which is theoretically a back full. And then I just kind of throw the hips a little bit more, and I go more over top, and then go more over top, and then more and more and more, and eventually it becomes pretty straight over, right over, kind of like that. Yeah, it's not the prettiest, but it would get you a back full in competition. If you're learning how to just do back full for the first time and just trying to understand it, then it'll get you there. But it's not a way I'd recommend. I would recommend doing, as in the previous tutorials, which I'll have in the description here, where you do a 3/4 back, then you twist, not doing it early. But I worked with Lords of Gravity how to do this with Levante, and he learned how to do this in 5 minutes. So it is another way you can approach a back full if you're having problems, but probably not the best, but it can be done. Just for, everyone's a little bit different, so you gotta have options, right? So, and you can see here for tricking, the only thing I'm trying to show you guys here is that it's really the same thing. cork from the ground, what like a tricker would do, and what a cork from a snowboarder would do is really the same exact process, just one, you kick the foot before. So I'm kicking my right foot up, and then it becomes just like the regular cork. 2 feet, 1 foot, no difference. You still have to start off by going to the stomach drop and building up, but you can do it with 1 foot, 2 foot. If you have 3 feet, you can do it with 3. It doesn't matter, right? Theoretically, just for fun, you could do it on your hands, right? And I just thought about this now, but maybe I'll play with that. Is you do jump on your hands and try to do a cork from your hands. That could be kind of cool, and you could, because you know the mathematics. That's the whole point. This is not to learn a skill. It's here to learn a process, and there's a huge difference. And I don't think that many people really understand the process. They just are memorizing steps rather than understanding how they even came to be in the first place, right? So that's when I'm coaching, I'm not worrying about anything besides that. So guys, I hope that makes a little bit more sense for you guys, so you can see how this is how I taught myself cork. No one really taught me. I just played with it, figured it out, and I just kept doing it. But that's how I basically have taught myself, and I teach everyone else. So play with it, try it out, see what it's like. I'm sure it's not going to be too hard for you guys. I have never had anyone not be able to learn this, and I've done it for little kids at trampoline parks that want to learn how to snowboard, to Olympic level athletes, to guys who travel the world doing basketball dunks for a living, you know. So anyone can learn this, and it's always the same process. So just give it a shot, but don't skip the steps. Make sure you do a lot to stomach first. Make sure you're perpendicular. Then the rest is honestly super easy. Just keep the arms in. Don't start reaching your arms out. That's how you're gonna get hurt. Just keep them in. It becomes a habit. It should be pretty simple. So give it a shot. You can send it to me. We have a group called Learn Acrobatics online. Just type it into Facebook. The link is again below. Submit your videos there. We can all help you. There's like 800 people there that can all kind of push you in the right direction from different walks of life, that all have their own expertise and all are learning themselves as well. So send videos there. We also have our website again in the description. Check all that stuff out, and